Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be updating all my class tier lists for patch 13.8. So if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe, and let's get into it. To begin with, Malphite is going to move down into the S tier. He is no longer as strong as he used to be. He held a really powerful spot for a decent amount of time. He's relatively simple to play, but as he's no longer going to be dominating his winning matchups as hard, I'm just going to drop him down into the S tier, losing a bit of damage on the W and the cleave ratio. As it's his fast max into a lot of his winning matchups, it's just going to hurt him a bit. Asol is going to be removed from the B tier. Asol's no longer really played in the top lane. The nerfs towards him this patch has also dropped his play rate a bit, so just going to remove him. Poppy is going to move up into the S tier. Poppy is actually close to the Z tier. She's performing really well with the buffs, gaining a percentage on her Q damage combined with a bit more resist on her W. For a relatively sleeper OP champion, is doing like wonders for her. She wins into a lot of the high mobility, good like high presence matchups as well at the moment, so doing a lot better there. Garen and Lilia are going to stay in their respective tiers. The Lilia buffs, if anything, actually hurt the champion more because it was a lot. She lost a lot of power in her base heal ratio, where it got put a lot base heal, where it got put a lot more into her ratio, and you tend to build a lot more tankier as a leader in the top lane, less of these one-shot AP builds. So she's just going to stay in the D tier. Garen also didn't really benefit a huge amount from his buffs. They were strict buffs, so he does do a bit better, but gonna stay in the B tier for the moment. For jungle, I'm just gonna save this. For jungle, Jarvan is going to move down into the S tier. Jarvan is no longer going to be as overbearing as he used to be. The nerfs towards his Q damage and AD scaling going to hurt the champ a decent amount. It will hurt his clear speed and just his overall damage output. If he's casting 2 or 3 Qs a fight, losing 10 to 30 damage is a decent amount. Poppy is going to move up into the A tier from the C tier. Poppy is performing quite well in the jungle as well. The buffs just helped all around. Kayn is going to move down into the A tier, but nerfs towards Blue Kayn still hurt him. Blue Kayn was outperforming Red, and Red I'd say is about an A tier pick at the moment. Lilia is going to stay in the B tier along with the top lane, just going to stay in her respective tier. Nidalee's actually going to move up into the B tier. Nidalee was quite close to the B tier. If you can perform quite well on the champion, but I do recommend picking her, but if you aren't someone who plays a lot of the champ and you're lower down in elo, I would say just stick away from this champion. She's pretty hard to master, and I would not recommend. Kha'Zix is going to move up into the S tier. 10 more damage based on his Q is huge for this kind of a champion. Helps him clear faster, helps him do more damage, assassinate people faster, generate more first strike gold. It's just a massive buff towards Kha'Zix. He is just going to be a lot more powerful within the jungle, so definitely an S tier pick. That's all the jungle changes, actually. Once again, this patch isn't particularly big, so there's just not a huge amount of changes to talk about here. Mid lane, it's just Asol staying within his respective tier. I'm not going to move any other champions around. There's not really any mid lane changes to talk about. ADC actually has a couple of changes. Kog'Maw got buffed. His E cooldown, his E mana cost went down from 60 to 40 early, still scales up to 100, but this now allows you to put a point in the ability and not feel too bad playing ADC. It doesn't punish you too hard. The slow going up on it as well early is quite nice. Ezreal is going to move up into the A tier. If you're good at Ezreal, I will recommend playing him. The buffs do help him. It just overall allows him to secure more minions, makes farming a bit easier. His damage output's going to be a bit higher. It's not a huge buff, but if you're skillful at Ezreal, you can make use of it. And it does affect him in 1 in 100 games, so I will move him up into the A tier. That's all it is for ADC. Jinx is very close to Z tier though. Jinx is really, really powerful at the moment. I do definitely recommend playing Jinx for Clash. For supports, a couple of changes here. Leona is going to move up into the A tier. Leona is performing quite well after her buffs. W damage and W resist going up. Generally quite nice for her first max ability. Janna is going to move up into the A tier. Janna got some nice quality of life buffs on her E, but it now decays after a longer amount of time, and the W damage went up and the ratio went up, so quite nice buffs towards Janna. Definitely performing a lot better. Rakan receives very, very minor nerfs. But overall, I'm just going to bring him in line with the rest of the OPs. The changes alone aren't a huge amount towards Rakan. He is still probably the best support in the game. Just no longer Z tier. Still very close to though. So yeah, those are all the changes. There's really not a lot to talk about. I do hope we start getting patches which have a lot more depth to them, because this is not a huge amount of quantity to talk about. There's very minor things which I can adjust across all the tier lists, but as I said, very small things, and the champ's going to be relatively similar to the tier which I've put it in. Things like Milio can be close to A tier kind of thing. I'm just not really going to talk about a lot of these things, so yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully next patch will have a bit more quantity, so we can move some more champions around and get a more diverse meta, I guess. So yeah, see ya.